Welcome to the Growing Your Business podcast. This is the show that dives into the big question, what's in it for me, for both the business and its customers? On each episode, we sit down with a business owner or leader to uncover their why, their values, and the stories that drive them to grow their business. Joining me today on the Growing Your Business podcast is my new friend, Jim Hill of EOS Worldwide. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, buddy.
Excellent. Glad to have you here. Tell me about Jim. What do you do at EOS Worldwide, and how does that set you apart?
Absolutely. Yeah. I work with growth-minded business leaders, owners, and leadership teams, and I help them scale. I help them break through barriers, and I help them understand and see a clear path to growth, to consistency, and to really getting what they want out of their business.
So this is a comprehensive program. It's vetted. Tell me how you got involved and why you joined the EOS Worldwide program.
Correct. Yeah, this is really a complete system with simple tools. And I read the book Traction back in 2015.
Great book. Yeah.
I started to implement it in bits and pieces into my business, which is a kids soccer program. I own multiple franchises in San Diego, and immediately saw some differences in our clarity and culture and execution. When I went all in shortly after, something magic happened, right? And the business stopped relying upon me. So for the last 11 years, I've self-implemented it into my business, and I've had some help with implementers along the way. But yeah, today I moved to Texas 6 years ago from San Diego, and I run my business remotely ever since. So I like to bring the freedom that EOS brought me to other business owners.
So for those of you watching or listening, I've had the benefit of just sitting through the first part of it.
The 90-minute meeting.
The 90-minute meeting. And I tell you, having read the book Traction, it was years ago, though, so it's good to have a refresher. And in that 90-minute meeting, you walked me through a lot of really interesting things as an entrepreneur myself and a business owner myself, very thought-provoking. So tell me about the entire process, just kind of lay it out for people who don't know anything about it and haven't had the benefit that I've had to be a part of that.
Yeah, well, I'd say step one is the book Traction by Gino Wickman. That's the book of plays. Right. So you can read the book, and you can also look on YouTube and fix your sink and get a lot of water everywhere. But having an implementer is the coach.
Yeah.
That kind of complements the Traction book. So I for 11 years, I've self-implemented, and I've gone through tough times, and I've gone through, how do I use this tool? When's the most appropriate way to use this tool? But if it's something that you want to take the next step and grow, it's the difference between having a trainer versus not having a trainer.
Right, a guide for all the things, especially someone. And I understand from EOS Worldwide's perspective, when they find someone like you or you find them, there's a vetting process that you have to, I assume, just based on what I know about you, have been an entrepreneur, established a business, run a business, and know enough to guide people who are. I'm 10, 11 years into one of my businesses, but just in that 90-minute time with you, I learned or was reminded of things that I need to solve. Like, the rocks concept is like, here are the things I need to take care of now.
Right.
And so talk to me about your journey, again, being in a business. How did you find EOS Worldwide and get involved? Like, how did you become who you are in this organization?
Right, yeah. Well, like I said, I read the book Traction in 2015. I went to the EOS conference as a business owner from 2018 for 5 straight years till 2022. I loved the concepts. It was so simple and fundamental that the magic was in the simplicity of it. And so understanding what it was able to do for my business, and having a passion for helping people, I looked into becoming an implementer because, again, this is something I do for free. I love to just help people with the tools for their business. I've done it for free for several hours on the phone over the years with friends. But now getting the opportunity to help other people not only run a better business, but live a better life is very rewarding.
And you're in good company. There are quite a few EOS implementers, but they all share the same traits that you have, especially wanting to help people see the vision for their own business.
Yeah, one of our core values is help first. And I've never seen or been part of a community that is so authentic with their core values of help first and humbly confident. And so it's really a privilege to be part of a community like that.
So when you're meeting new people, which you and I, we're in a networking group together and we know a lot of the same people, but we're also meeting new people. What are you looking for when you meet a person? You can tell right out of the gate, like, I can help them.
Yeah, I'd say anybody who's growth minded, anybody who's willing to be open and honest and vulnerable with themselves and their team. If you're more afraid of the status quo than you are of change, then that's something that speaks to you when we talk about breaking through the ceiling of your business and the problems that you're dealing with. Every business deals with issues, and asking the question, how much are your issues costing you by not fixing them? What would it feel like to get beyond those issues? Because we find that an issue clearly defined is 50% solved.
Yeah. You had made a really interesting point in our 90-minute about, the analogy is like, think of it, you're wanting to be a gymnast or any professional athlete. You can't do that without a good coach, someone who knows the plays, knows the business, has gone through what you've gone through. So tell me about the importance of coaching. And also, it starts with the 90-minute. Walk me through an entire engagement as you become someone's coach to get them where, the outcomes are X, but you've got to go through this process.
Correct. Yeah. It starts with the 90-minute meeting. Well, it starts with a conversation.
Like we're having now, sure.
Yeah, it's a conversation like we're having now. And then moving on to the 60 to 90 minutes meeting. And I share with you not only the tools and the disciplines that each of the 6 key components are strengthened with, but I also share the process of working with an implementer and what that looks like. The first is a focus day, which is a full day together. And then there's 2 vision building days, followed by your quarterly and annual meetings. So I walk you through what each of those steps is and what they look like. And that's our EOS proven process to show you how we do work with organizations and we have success in helping them run better businesses.
And I had the benefit in that 90-minute of a one-on-one. Now, and I remember in that conversation, it's better to have, let's say you have a small leadership team or any of the stakeholders in your business. Like in my case, I'd want to bring those people to the room with you because because talk to me about working with a team in that environment.
Yeah, absolutely. During the 90-minute meeting, it's most beneficial to have your leadership team, anybody who you see being with you, that solves your problems, that feels your pain, that are in the seats in your organization that make a difference. Having those people with you from the get-go creates that open and honest atmosphere and really encourages the installation of accountability and discipline that you're trying to kind of implement throughout your business.
Stay with us. The Growing Your Business podcast will return right after this. Ready to amplify your brand's voice? At Blue Mike Studios, we transform your ideas into captivating podcasts and videos. Whether you're launching your own show or guest starring on ours, we've got you covered. From recording and editing to social media promotion. With state-of-the-art 4K video and crystal clear audio, your content will shine. We offer guest packages on our podcasts and offer segments from the show for you to share. Or let us help you build your own branded podcast with custom strategy, branding, and full production support. Visit BlueMikeStudios.com today and let your voice be heard. Please check our show notes for sponsorship links and additional details. Now, back to the Growing Your Business podcast with Buddy Broyles.
What drives you? I can see you're a helper. You're an entrepreneur. You've been in business for a while. I'd say you're one of the good ones, knowing what I know about you. But let's talk about your day. Like you get out of the bed in the morning and what's your motivation?
Well, from my core, my faith in Jesus is number one, and my kids are a close second.
Yeah.
But in that, it just leads me to wanting to help other people and making a positive impact, and defining what success is for us is really what that is. Yeah. Can I leave a conversation? Can I leave a meeting? Can I leave an interaction with people, making them feel like I got them out of their funk for the day? So I try to bring energy. I try to bring questions that are engaging. And I try to bring my experience as a lived operator of implementing EOS and just helping with tools. So even if having an implementer may not be right for you right now and might not be the right investment, I'm happy to sit down with anybody and just chat with them about this.
Yeah. And the EOS system works. It's been tried on thousands of businesses. Tell me about, example you've been given or people you've worked with that you took them from literally just their hands in, they're just, I don't know. right? And they haven't read traction. Talk to me about are they now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest analogy in the visual is the barrier between, and the barrier that is to the finish line.
Yeah.
A lot of people can see to the next barrier, but they can't see to the finish line. So EOS provides clarity as to what you're doing. And laser focuses you. So you create what your core focus is. What do you love to do? What are you good at? And you focus your efforts there. A lot of times we all run in different directions and we're trying to figure out, how do I serve this? How do I be a yes person? Learning the value of saying no in order to laser focus really amplifies your efforts.
Right. It gives you the guidance to stay narrow focused, which is the hardest part for entrepreneurs and small entrepreneurial teams. They're wearing so many hats, and sometimes they're sharing hats. They're sharing responsibilities and accountability for all of the things and giving them that direction. Tell me about a business that this may not be good for. I would think it's good for every business. Are there businesses that find implementing this system challenging?
Well, our target market is 10 to 250 employees.
Yeah.
However, I do work with solopreneurs and husband and wife teams. There are implementers that work with 1,000 and 5,000 employee billion-dollar organizations,
Yeah.
and we also work with nonprofits. But 10 to 250 is really our target market. And part of the reason is because once you have a team, this is about execution.
Yeah.
If you're in the right market, selling the right products and services, fantastic. We can help you execute. If you're not, it's a different problem.
Yeah.
And so the reason that bigger organizations, it's more difficult to. These tools and disciplines can help any organization on any level. But the only reason that we stick with 10 to 250 is because implementing this EOS system throughout the organization will just take longer. So there's no prohibitive. I think the tools and disciplines work for every stage of organization.
And are you serving a geographic area, looking for businesses in a certain area? Tell me about the people in the area that you serve.
Yeah, well, I live in McKinney, Texas, and so I serve my area. I am born and raised in San Diego, California, so I serve businesses there as well. I do virtual sessions. I'm willing to travel, so I've got clients all over the place. So there's no really geographic prohibitive nature. There are implementers all over the country as well and all over the world.
And y'all get together every year or often, I imagine, to collaborate and share information. Tell me about being a part of the organization.
Yeah, we get together locally every month. We get together quarterly as a global organization, and the community that we're a part of, there's almost 900 other EOSI implementers.
Wow.
And so, like I said, that community and the authentic nature of help first and humbly confident that we live by is truly incredible, because we're a abundance mindset. We want everybody to we just want to help businesses get what they want and live in freedom.
When you meet new people, is there a specific type of business you're looking for most?
I wouldn't say that there's an industry that necessarily benefits most, but I would say that there's a lot of organizations that work with a similar target market as us.
Yeah.
And if you're a help-minded organization that is working with businesses and you want to help them in your niche and what you do, also referring an EOS implementer to them, or saying, hey, I know a guy named Jim, come talk with him,
Yeah.
and I'll give him a call and just see how things are going for them and what's going right, what could be going better, and how big of a priority is it to fix those problems.
Fair. How do you like to be reached?
Email, phone, website,
Gotcha.
any of those.
And for those watching or listening, just scroll down to the show notes. Everything Jim has given to me is there, and we'll keep that updated as time passes to make sure that you can reach Jim directly. So the EOS implementation system, working with someone like you, it's an investment. It's an investment in time, your team's time, money over a period of time to grow your brand. Talk to me about objection handling there. What analogies do you have for people that can't seem to make a decision on, do I invest in this?
Absolutely. It is an investment, and you have to look at how much are not fixing my issues costing me. What would it feel like to fix my issues and actually make each issue go away forever, and then deal with the progressive issues as you grow, right? There's the analogy of the lazy dog that's laying on a nail, and people ask, well, why is he laying on the nail? It's like, well, it's not hurting enough for him to move yet. So if it's hurting enough for you to move, or you want to make that investment to take the next step without stumbling, that's why working with a coach like me will work.
Yeah, it's like what there's the cost of not doing, outweigh the cost of doing and vice versa. Right?
Yeah, it's more expensive not to.
Right. And especially if you look over time. I tell people, like some of the services I offer, it's like planting a tree. When was the best time to plant a tree? Was it yesterday or 20 years ago?
Right.
Especially if you know you need shade or you know you need fruit.
Right. And I always say, too, if you own a business and it doesn't run well without you, then you don't really own a business, you own a job.
Well said. Well, parting thoughts as we close out the show, Jim. It's been great having you on. What would you say to people who have been listening, been watching if they're watching on YouTube, and they're like, huh?
I would say don't hesitate. Send me an email. Let's schedule a virtual coffee or an in-person coffee, and I'll chat and hear about your business. I love to learn and chat with other business owners. Sometimes thought of as a therapist for leadership teams or entrepreneurs. So I just love to hear about the pain points. What's going well? What do you love to do? What do you do well? What could be going better? And then from there, I can share some of the tools, share our process, and share what next steps would be, whether working with me is the right fit or not.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you came on the show and shared your knowledge with us on the Growing Your Business
Thanks a lot,
show.
buddy. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us today on the Growing Your Business podcast. Please see the show notes for links to our sponsors, our social media, and to learn more about today's guest.